Okay, hey guys, today I have another video. I am back on Master Duel and I wanted to share a way of playing the White Forest and Azamina deck without the fiendsmith stuff, because even in Master Duel where you don't have to pay, what is it, like 60 bucks for the engravers, 10, 11 each for the tracks and the, what's it called, the lacrima, it's definitely a much more expensive um TCG engine. But in Master Duel, obviously you can just, craft the ultra rares quite easily. But I wanted to bring a version of the deck that you could also play in the TCG, but that I've been having fun with in the Master Duel format that takes advantage of cards like Saint Azamina and Moa Regina. Um, Basically using more cards and Debtors actually. Excuse me, Debtors is a really cool card. Um, in a lot of lists it's just you're not gonna run it, but I wanted to run a more pure uh Azamina build with well, I guess it's not pure Azamina, but a heavier Azamina build with the White Forest cards, and this is actually a very strong version of the deck. And yeah, so basically I'll just go over it real quick. um it's very similar White Forest names that we play in basically the other versions. One is Stellar, three Elzat, one of the Elza Azamina, three Sylvie, and one Rusia. Um, yeah, it's pretty standard at this point right now. Um, and again, I will talk about this deck as if you could play it in the TCG as well. In the TCG, this is still going to be like your best I think lineup, because you want to fit in as many hand traps as possible. So you don't want to have extra cards that are not necessary. So here you have three Sylvie and then one Esteller. Technically, this means you're only running four normal summons, but you're also running a lot of ways to get to your your normal summon. So it's okay, I think, if you run less. But um yeah, so we have the three L's that. Oh yeah, also we have the two tails in here. So, if we open Diabell Star Wanted with this, with tails, that's also just gets you your normal summon if you want. But yeah, so that's the basic White Forest lineup. For the Azamina stuff, I'm running three Diabell Star and one Wanted. You have to only run one Wanted in Master Duel because obviously it's limited to one. If this was a TCG, I'd definitely run three Wanted and either one or two Diabell Star. Um, Diabell Star is very good, but the Wanted is definitely much better because it lets you recycle cards and get extra draws. So it keeps your hand size up, because for a lot of these cards you are needing to tribute monsters from your hand or field, or set for Diabell Star you need to send a card. For Elzat you need to send a card, same with the Stellar. So there are going to be cards that you're going to have to ditch out of your hand. There are cards that obviously we play Scourge, we play Woes, we play Tails, that we get advantage off of that, which is fine. But um yeah, so we play that. I'm playing the one Hollowed Azamina, which is obviously the standard, but I'm also playing the one Debtors, which is really cool because you can use this to go into the Soul. I'm not even gonna attempt to pronounce that name, but excuse me. This is essentially a card that you can summon on your opponent's turn to send one of your opponent's cards to the graveyard. And also, if it sticks, it will add back an Azamina or Sinful Spoil card in the graveyard, which is actually not bad at all. And it's during the standby phase, so it's not just yours, which that's not really going to come up all that often, but it is a nice added bonus. Um, and yeah, and we're able to do this a lot more frequently because playing three Deception, um, even if we're playing just one, we'll usually send it. Um, we can search. We'll send it summon Mu Arceolago. We can search the Debtors and then combo off your thing. We can add the Hollowed Azamina back and usually use it to summon another time, either the Saint Azamina or just summon our Ilia Sylvia. And then because we have the Debtors in hand, in the end phase, our Sinful Spoils is going to reset itself, giving us our fodder to send it for Debtors in or on the next turn. So that's really good. Excuse me. What else? I guess I'm also playing one of the Sinful Spoils of Slumber Orion. This is just a really good card. There's a bunch of cash cards um, going around. What's it going around? Being played right now, especially in Master Duel. In you have like fiendsmith, Kashtira. You even have that in the TCG too. So this applies for both, and this is a good card for both. And yeah, these are some of the cards that I like to just play in my heavier Azamina Sinful Spoils build, if you will. Yeah, I'm playing, I believe this is 14 hand traps. You could bump down what was I saying? Oh yeah, for the TCG, because obviously Maxi isn't a thing, you could turn that into Nibiru. You could also, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, because we don't play one cross out and two call by in the TCG, you could probably just stick with one call by and then maybe add two more hand traps. Like I think Ghost Ogre is not bad right now, so you could keep a call by, because call by is always nice to help your plays go through, and you can add two more hand traps for Ghost Spell, or well, it could be Ghost Spell, but Ghost Ogre, because that's really good into the Blue Eyes matchup right now. It can hit the what's it called, the Ryzeal duo drive. It can hit a number of things. You know, it's just a generically good card. So yeah, for the extra deck, we play the main two Azamina monsters, and then the Searcher and the Negate, that is. And then we have the Soul, which I'll just refer it to, which is something you can do to break boards, which is actually really nice, because there's a lot of times where I'll open like a a Hollowed Azamina or a Debtors with like a Wanted or a Deception or a Slumber, and also like even if you don't open it, it's really easy to get to these, especially with Diabell Star. But you can basically instantly threaten like interruption to break your opponent's field. So oftentimes, like what you can do is I will search for Hollowed Azamina, and then you can activate it to summon it. You don't reveal which one you're summoning until the effect resolves. So oftentimes, if your opponent, you know, your opponent's probably gonna be fearful that you're gonna summon out the Ilia Sylvia. So what you can do is, if they respond in any way that it wouldn't be like it wouldn't be particularly helpful to have the Ilia Sylvia anymore, you can summon this, and it can be a different type of interruption. If you prefer the search, you can also do that too, but it's definitely a really solid card if you're playing a heavier Azamina package. Moa Regina is, it's definitely not the the best card in the extra deck, but it is a solid card. You can summon it very easily off of Saint Azamina, and then once you summon it, it can reborn another illusion. So it's definitely, it's a good card. It does do a pop too when you activate a Azamina or Sinful Spoil card, and the fact is, we don't have a lot of those to activate on our opponent's turn, but we usually will have a Debtors and or a Slumber set, so we can always pair it with that. So we can get a Book of Moon into a pop 2, stuff like that. But yeah, this is more of like a niche option. But then there's also Saint Azamina, which this is one of the main cards that I wanted to include. This is really a really strong card. It's a difficult card to summon, but it's really strong nonetheless. It's a pseudo floodgate. It stops your opponent from, you know, targeting cards on their field, graveyard, or banishment, which can be really awkward, especially against like playing into White Force on this as well, or even playing into what's it called? Tempai, that's it. They can't you know, use the effects to reborn their monsters from the grave because they target, and they can't do other targeting effects. It's a really awkward. It's like, it's not the craziest hand trap. It's not the craziest floodgate. It's no skill drain, you know, but it's still really actually not that bad. Also, it says your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken, which is a really funny like you bell kind of effect, and it's fitting because the monster has 0 attack, so you can do some really funny plays with it. Also, it can cheat out one of your Azamina monsters, which is pretty nice. Also, something to keep in mind. Um, so if you have Ilya Sylvia out with the Saint Azamina, one of the funny things you can do is this says any battle damage your Azamina monsters except Ilya Sylvia inflicts your opponent is doubled, um, which is really funny because you can have this mixed with this and it'll double your damage. Although it didn't seem to work in one of the replays that I'll show. I got an OTK by basically booking all my opponent's monsters with Silvera and then just using Saint Azamina to just attack into one monster with all my stuff and getting the OTK that way. Yeah, still crazy good card. Some generic synchros. I think in this version you can definitely run Coral Dragon because there's a lot of times where you'll need to summon Elzet, Azamina, and synchro into a level 6, but you don't have a spell or trap to descend with Arciela. So it's good to play this in my opinion because it lets you get some value out of that level 6. Sometimes you'll want the level 6 White Force monster in the grave to get as a extender with your level 4 tuners in the grave, but if you need cards, if you want to build your hand advantage, then this is definitely a good option. And it's also a removal. It can discard a card to target a card your opponent controls and destroy it. So just generally a good card. Baron, obvious. It's like one of the first cards in the deck list. Chaos Angel 2, really strong. We have lights and darks. We can threaten both a light and dark Chaos Angel, and that's just really, really strong. Typhon's just a good generic option. Same with IP Masquerena. And what's really cool about Sprite Alpha in this is we can often end up searching for our Stellar and then linking it. Well, so actually there's a couple things you can do. We can either start with a Stellar, and if it gets stopped, we can end up linking it off. So oftentimes I'll like summon a Deal Bell Star, or I'll summon a Deal Bell Star and I'll like normal summon the Stellar, and then these will both get stopped, and then we can I can link those off into the elf, and then what you can do is you can, if you use like an LZ to send a spell trap to the grave, you can trigger this to bring it back, and then you'll probably synchro climb up with Azamina LZ, and then you can get the search effect with that, and then you can use Elf to bring the Azamina LZ back, and then use the Azamina LZ's fusion summon, on-field fusion summon effect as well. So it's really nice. And then SP, just because it's a crazy busted card. So yeah, I just wanted to show you 2 replays now that I thought were pretty interesting. I think, yeah, let's see, I think, which one do I want to show first? This one was against Tempai. Yeah, I'll show this one first. So Tempai is still running around in Master Duel. It's not going to be running around really at all in the TCG. Yes, there are some people still playing it, but it's not that great. So I'm going first. I have a pretty combo heavy hand. My opponent does end up making the mistake of using his hand traps just completely wrong here. I do play through 2 hand traps here. He Valors the Arciela. If you're curious, if you don't know much about White Forest, or you or you want to know exactly like how to hand trap them, what you want to do is you want to Valor. If you have Valor and Ash, you Valor the Sylvie and you Ash the Elzet, because ashing the Elzet is by far the most impactful Ash Blossom you can have. It's a special summon body and a search for any of your White Force cards. It's just really good. Then he Valors the Arciela. That is absolutely fine with me. I could dodge it if I want, but I don't need to. Then we synchro up into to Diabel. We get a bunch of searches. We go Hollowed, Chain Wanted, which is really nice because we get the free value out of Wanted. Then Timu Arcielago. So we played through 2 hand traps here, which is not bad at all. Here I believe I'm going to go into Diabel Star, yeah, and then set the Deception. I don't really need to search with it if I wasn't playing the other Azamina cards, but here we can search Debtors. So we're gonna have the interruption for our opponent's turn. We're gonna put this back, put the Baron on board. Then we can send both the Sinful Spoil cards that we've searched for the Saint Azamina. This will summon out the negate. We'll reset the trap, and here he's just going to quit. It's not gonna show me, you know, like playing against my opponent, but it's just showing how even against 2 hand traps, it's still possible to combo. And yeah, so then here's the last one. This is going to be against what's it called? Melodious. So we do have the Fulos here, so it's a very strong card. We're gonna have a number of cards to play with. This replays mainly just to show the Saint Azamina OTK lines. They're gonna play a little bit. I'm not entirely sure why they do that. They have cards that says they can, Melodious monsters cannot be targeted or be destroyed by battle, and this says Melodious monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. So it is actually kind of a nice, it's not really a lock, but their cards can't be destroyed by battle or card effect, and they can't be targeted. That's really difficult to get rid of, although this is why White Forest is so good, is because Silvera is just such a it's such a good piece of removal or way to like stop stuff like this. So yeah, so we're gonna go into Saint Azamina here. He's gonna go Joel. We have the we have the call by. I don't think it really would have mattered. Here what I could have done, basically I was just like, okay, I'm gonna try and do the Saint Azamina OTK, which I do end up doing, but what I could have done here is I could have gone for the Mo Regina, and right now I'm going to go for the Silvera play to just book all my opponent's monsters. So we're gonna book all their monsters, basically outing their difficult board, their win condition. I get more monsters to summon because even though these are low attack, my opponent is going to take the damage from this. So I could have also summoned Diabel Star, and at least I think I could, yeah, I could have summoned Diabel Star, and then activated whatever I set, and then chain the Mo Regina if I played this to pop 2, and I could have just played it that way to actually remove my opponent's cards. But yeah, so I'm actually gonna slow it down. Yeah, just keep attacking into him with my cards. I do realize that I'm not getting double damage here from my Azamina cards, so this is something that I don't know if this is a glitch or if for some reason this ruling doesn't work this way, but this says any battle damage your Azamina monsters except Ilia Sylvia, so not this card, but the Saint Azamina and Elza Azamina should work for this. It says any battle damage they inflict to your opponent is doubled, and this says your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken. So I don't know if that's just like the wording is like that's technically not the same battle damage, or I don't know, but I feel like that should definitely be like an OTK. Like I don't know, I definitely feel like that should be working, but I noticed that it's not, so I knew that this card was by far the lowest defense, so Silvera is going to do a lot of damage, and then I can just attack with Sylvie into his defense position monster and win the game that way. So it's actually a really cool way of winning a game, and I thought I just wanted to show that off. But yeah, so that's going to be the deck profile for the Azamina White Forest cards. This deck's really cool, and I think if you're trying to be as budget as possible, the White Forest cards in the TCG, they're not the most budget. Deception's 30. You can get away with just playing one. Elzets are 30ish, maybe a little under 30. And then you have, what else do you have? Azamina Elzets 15. One of Stellar is like 10, 11. Pretty much your entire extra deck is pretty cheap except for Chaos Angel and Typhon. You don't have to play Typhon. And also there's some cards in here like Baron and Elf that are banned, but if you play just those, you know, adding the fiendsmith stuff, fiendsmith cards are really good, but it's just a bunch of extra money to spend. So if you don't want to do that, I think this is a great way to play the deck, and still a very, very viable and very strong way to play the deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them in the comment section, because I love talking about this deck and I love talking Yu-Gi-Oh with people in general. And yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.